Potholes and Penguins
with Barry and Trimby.
Hello and you're very welcome to Potholes and Penguins. It's Sunday evening and lads, it's a new world. We have stepped into the world of visual. It's not just audio anymore. Dermy has decided that we're going visual. Due to all your requests, where can I see? Why can't I see on YouTube? Where are your faces?
I want to see you on YouTube. I used to watch you on YouTube. I can't see you anymore on YouTube. I don't know how to use the internet. Why can't I see you on the internet anymore?
Now you can. Here we are. And for that reason, I'm wearing our merchandise and holding a merchandise cup, which I'll get into in a little while. But it is Sunday night. It's late because of all this faffing about. And Trimby, because you were at the Ulster match doing co-coms. I feel like we're on a late night love night radio. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
There used to be one.
I feel like our tone should match it as well.
Late night love songs with Potholes and Penguins. I used to listen to that. I don't know if it was Limerick's Live 95 FM, and I used to listen to it when I was about 12 on my Walkman going to bed, and there'd be the late night letter, and it'd be Paddy loves Grania and they're broken up or something, and but Paddy loves her, and he'd like to request Meatloaf's "And I Would Do Anything for Love."
I was gonna say Savage Garden.
yes. What was their one?
Don't know.
Truly, madly, deeply do. I be
Yes,
a
yes.
I be a. Yeah.
Would they ever ask for advice on the late night love songs?
Oh yeah, that's what it was. What am I going to do?
Who gives her the advice? The DJ?
Your man, yeah.
Obviously, he was like mastered the art of making love. That he was radio DJ Saturday night, Limerick Live 95 FM. He wasn't down the icon because he completed it.
Yeah, I wondered is there a lad out there just writing those letters as just you know, he's got a formula. He knows he's an artiste and he writes them and sends them out to all the different radio stations. They just change the names because they were always the same. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, well, we can do it, lads. We can do anything. We've got video now. We can do whatever we want. We can step into that world. And now that we're in lockdown, we've nothing else to do. So,
Can you send me a jumper?
yes, yeah. So we've a Spotify account, or what's it called? Shopify. So it's we have jumpers, Potholes and Penguin jumpers, and we have mugs, and they're the two things that we have, but they're class. The mug fits a load of liquid in it, and the jumper keeps you warm and looking cool.
Yeah.
So
I might wear a Potholes and Penguins jumper from an ex punditry gig for like the Ulster game.
Do. Yeah, you have to. Apparently Rory McIlroy wore a hoodie playing golf tonight, and the world has gone mad.
Yeah, did we talk about this recently?
No.
You were campaigning for hoodies in golf.
Yeah.
It'll be off air.
Yeah. So I think it's good. There's going to be a change there. We were talking about the dads wearing all the same golf clothes, and how I hate going golfing because you have to wear the dad's clothes. Whereas now it's going to change, and it could be Potholes and Penguins. Anyway, how was the match? Was it good? I watched a bit of it. It's a good win.
It was grand. Yeah, first half was pretty good actually. Second half dried up a good bit. Dragons kind of got into it a good bit, and the game was over. And Ulster made a load of changes, maybe like 5 or 10 minutes in the second half. And no, it's hard to care. It's hard to keep caring, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't care. I was going to watch it all, but I listened to Kanye West on Joe Rogan this morning.
It's supposed to be incredible.
I just started.
What
Just a ramble.
a madman.
What was it like?
Listen to it. It was like Tom Cruise and Scientology again.
No. Oh, no. He's got to be better than feckin' Tom Cruise. That guy's a looper.
Did he talk about the Sunday service much?
Yeah. He talked a lot about that.
Okay.
He is an absolute madman, but he's a genius. There's no doubt. Like,
So has the Sunday service gospel stuff led into him going, I could lead the world. I could be the... I'll lead the world. I'm going to do that now.
I doubt it, because he announced that he was going to run for president in 2015, and the Sunday service thing is only really coming in the last 2 years, maybe
half a year, 6 months.
Yeah, so I'd say he's been thinking about this for a long time, and I, for one, want him to be the president of the world, not just America. And
Not up for grabs.
I
Not
want
up for grabs at the minute.
and I'm going to campaign against him in 2024 for president of the world, because after listening to him, I believe in myself now. If he can do it, I can feckin' do it. Rogan kept
Well, we have a very successful podcast.
yes.
So I think that is that's a legitimate springboard into becoming the president of the world.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking down those lines as well when Rogan was questioning, what are your foreign policies going to be? And he just starts going on about having billions of dollars in his bank account. He's managed billions. And I was going, shit. And I was thinking about, I'm now back up to 350 PUP a week. I was only on 300 a week for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
But things have changed in the Murphy household. I might not have a job, but I'm back to 350 a week. The twins got an extra Weetabix for their breakfast every day this week.
That extra €50 makes you very presidential.
Yeah. And not a one Weetabix each, obviously, like just
Weetabix.
Weetabix as opposed to Bix. I suppose Bic. Weetabix.
a Weetabix, because it's singular.
Okay.
I think that's the
I don't-
Eastern European version.
Yeah,
Weetabix.
I have to get a little. I've stepped down, lads. So I give them now 1.5 each. They're going up in the world. So yeah, president of the world is next for me, and it's the free world. It keeps calling it the free world. Do you know, it's not just America. It's the whatever the fuck that means, but it sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Can I be your first gentleman?
First lady. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dermy can be my vice president.
Yeah, sure.
Dermy's kicking himself. He didn't ask first there. Shotgun first lady.
Sure.
First lady seems like she'd have more to do than the VP.
I went down an awful YouTube rabbit hole this week when I was watching the presidential debate, and then I started watching Melania Trump looking at Justin Trudeau in a very lovingly way, and then there was a huge conspiracy. It was a very bad rabbit hole.
Yeah, they'd make a better couple than being with your man.
Probably.
All right, we had a very busy week on the show, actually. A lot of virtual interaction, which is good for our visuals now. So thanks everyone for all your virtual interaction on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and our Patreon, which got an unbelievable response. Would bring a tear to an old stone, I'd say. I was so proud that people got behind us, even though it's clear as day that we hadn't a clue what we were really doing. But as we said last week, we've been doing this for free for about a year now. And we're just looking to cover our costs and cover our dermy. So the £5 a month from you folks makes the world of a difference. So thank you to everyone who's signed up. And if anyone would like to join, just head over to our Patreon page. Potholes and Penguins. It's very, very straightforward. And yeah, we'd really appreciate it, wouldn't we?
Oh, people have been lovely, haven't they?
Yeah. And it's great that you can see the names. You can see who hasn't paid. Speaking to you, family. Our Facebook group was alight this week as well, with chats and gossip and all the penguin paraphernalia that we love and long for.
They're a very creative bunch,
Aren't they? Incredibly creative.
There's a couple of lads there now that are just mad into Photoshop. Maybe they're graphic designers, or maybe they're just...
The lad who made the Game of Thrones thing with the two of us and your little face.
He somehow got to melt either side of my mouth. So it's like, what was your man called? Varys? Varys.
Is that Varys, yeah?
He's the eunuch, yeah.
Yeah. Oh
No, it was the
old eunuch who loved going to them old dirty ladies of the night. What was he called?
I can't remember.
Well.
But it was great, and even someone pointed out, it had to be one of our penguins to point out that it was your birthday. We forgot it was your birthday on whatever day that was, and it was a penguin.
When you find out that it was my birthday, then you just like smashed this incredibly funny video together.
Yeah,
It seemed to take no time at all.
it didn't.
Like you were like a coiled spring, just waiting for the moment when it was announced that it was my birthday.
Yeah, I'm like Kanye, man, genius. Yeah, your Forrest Gump. It just I googled Trimby try, and that's the one try, and then that's of course is the one thing you think of when you see that, because it's the same angle. The Forrest Gump runs out of the stadium, and you do look quite like him. And when you run, and Dermy just put it together brilliantly. So happy birthday, man!
Thanks.
Happy birthday.
We'll have
It
a
was
paddle.
lovely. It was a lovely thought. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll have a Paddles and Penguins jumper in the post for you as well. You shared a birthday with Paul O'Connell, which is great.
Yeah, myself
Yeah.
and Polly would text each other once a year
Lovely.
on the 20th of October.
I coached with him this morning in Bowes. It was a real pleasure to watch him coaching 18-year-olds. He's very good.
Was he intense?
Yeah, but like
Did they go to the well?
it was technical stuff. So no, he wasn't intense. He's very, very good. He needs to be a coach, lads.
What did you find so good about it? Was it just admiration for his way to talk to people? Or?
Yeah, both that, his energy, his detail, his delivery, his what he actually focused on. I was like, this is brilliant. And it was just, little things that I suppose get young fellas visually seeing, focus them on one or two things and then get them good at that, and they'll be, way better players.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's also Ian Rush's birthday on the 20th of October.
Is it?
Yeah, and Snoop Dogg. Wonder if the four of us will maybe get together one of these years.
I love that.
Me, Paulie, Rushy, and Snoopy.
Yeah, I could see yourself, Paulie and Rush getting on well.
You think Snoop Dogg's too high profile for us?
Just he'd be weirded out by you. Three whitest men of all time.
I told you about Nick Williams. He went to fist pump me before a game one time in the change room, and I high-fived his fist pump. And he cleaned his fist in his jersey. And he said, "Trimby, you're the whitest person I've ever met."
Yeah, it's I'd be awful at that now, to be fair. But now that I'm going to be Kenya, I need to up my game. Okay, another thing we're going to try, because we're getting so technical, is we said this last week, we're going to do the Bledisloe Cup Zoom call on Saturday morning at 6 o'clock. We're going to put out a Zoom link. This is hypothetical, I think, at this point. I aim to do it. So we'll get up at 6. We'll put out a Zoom call link on our Facebook group.
No, we got to stick it into the Patreon. In the Patreon group.
Oh, right. Making people pay for it.
Well,
is it?
No, but they're the ones that have supported us. They deserve.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, I get you. So you're kind of forcing them to. Yeah, perfect. So the Patreon people get to watch the match with us. You lucky bastards.
I know. We see them all hang up halfway through the game.
Fuck these guys. So that's Saturday morning, 6 o'clock. Bledisloe, Australia versus New Zealand in Sydney, I presume.
Yeah, my daughter will be in the same room because that's her room in the mornings. She always shouts at me to turn the rugby down. She's 3,
Cool. So earmuffs.
Tune in to witness her bully me for an hour and a half.
Okay, we've loads to talk about in the rugby world. Congrats to Garrett Steenson and Ian Whitten and all in Exeter, who defeated Wasps to win the Premiership and the double on Saturday.
Some gone.
Truly incredible achievement, lads, isn't it? Commiserations to Cozzy, our Cozzy. But congrats, Cozzy, on a wonderful season with Wasps. But yeah, well done to the lads. What else? I want to talk about. Yeah, thank you to everyone who gave me a lovely response to the Axel song. That was very over. I don't know. I was a bit bowled over by it. Very sad. I got very sad for a few days.
I must say, when I put the video together, I got way deep and I started going through all the footage. Like it's a bit overwhelming, like when you're going through it all. But it was a class tribute. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, a
You're
lot
like the new Elton John, Buzz.
Elton
Candle
John.
in the wind.
There you go. See, that's why I can be a Kenya. I got a lovely few messages off people. Mary Moynihan, who's over in Australia, whose mum died suddenly this last year, and it made her think. She loves the podcast, and it just I don't know. She's doing this incredible 200-kilometer running challenge at the moment in her mum's memory, and our dulcet tones keep her going when she's running through those dark kilometers. And yeah, she just wanted to thank us because the song meant a lot to her. So it's messages like that are fucking, I don't know, they're beautiful. So thank you very much. I feel like because that was so sad, I want to do a nice upbeat song now, just to shake it out of my like cobwebs, just to like completely get a musical departure from that. So Dermy, I've been listening to a lot of Wolfpack, who I know you love, Trimby, and Tom Mish over the last few days.
Yeah.
So we're going to play something. I think we should put a little jingle together, play a little Tom Mish song ourselves, pull out the bass, bow on,
Okay.
get a flute.
Okay.
We'll stick it in now. Putting a video of cats dancing.
Oh, yes. Now we're talking. Put in a video
Keep this bit in.
Okay, yeah.
of cats
That's how we work, people.
dancing.
Okay, we've got to dive into the Ireland men versus Italy and what we will need to do in Paris next week. We've also got to talk about the Ireland women who beat Italy in Donnybrook on Saturday, and also a little bit on the Pro 14 and other things and all that crack. But Trimby, will you give me your Trimby's silly little bit? Silly Trimby's silly little bit.
It's Trimby's silly little bit.
After a career's worth of team talks, game days and anthems, it's understandable if a player exhibits a touch of an eye roll or a frown with every rugby cliche. Days like today come down to who wants it more, or we set our own standards, or a popular one nowadays with empty stadiums, we need to bring our own energy. The captain or coach quickly scans their game day database for a recently unused remark. and attempts to deliver it in a convincing way. No such cynicism was on display with young Hugo Keenan on Saturday at the Aviva, and how refreshing it is to see such a level of enthusiasm / naivety. Oh, it's naivety. Like a young Springer Spaniel with its owner reaching for the lead, everything he did, his body language seemed to burst with excitement, or did he just need a wee? He appeared more sprightly and spangly than any international I've seen in recent times. When he changed direction at one stage, I am sure I saw him do jazz hands. But with a brace of tries, he marked an incredible introduction to international rugby and proved Andy Farrell's unorthodox team talk was just the trick. Hugo, it's time for your walkies.
Springer Spaniel. Very, very apt.
In particular, I don't know if you've seen the YouTube of the dog like up against a fence, and I'm just shaking.
No.
I'll put a link up afterwards, but in particular, that is the impression I had of Hugo. He was just so energetic and he just loved his moment. And I know I'm slagging it, but it was brilliant to see.
No, it was. I've never seen a dog do jazz hands.
Jazz paws.
But yeah, he was like a dog. Yeah, but is this most people who get their first cap? This was been thrown around a lot at the weekend, where why don't we just give everyone, why don't we just put 15 new caps in the pitch every week, because they play with such freedom like a dog, just going out for a run in the park, as opposed to maybe a caged animal in a zoo like the rest of them are, because they've been beaten down by the system for so many years.
Because they're feared up, because they're afraid of making mistakes.
They gotta get out and do their tricks. Come on, come on, polar bear. And then they're like, CJ's like, I should not even be here. I'm not from this climate. They're like throwing him steaks. Come on. Although CJ was class this weekend.
Yeah. Will Connors wasn't that kind of nerdy, enthusiastic persona. He was pretty cool. He was like he looked a lot cooler. Do you not think so?
A cooler dog.
Yeah,
like the Springer Spaniel's maybe like a bit of a puppy dog, whereas Connors was I don't know.
Yeah, but I know. Yeah, you're right. He's kind of an old, haggard, washed up dog. But he's not, because he's young and obviously very capable of job tackles.
Bit of a mutt, like.
Yeah,
he's streetwise. He knows how to tackle them.
Yeah.
But what is that? Is that a freedom that they give? Like we were talking about Caleb Clark last week, where he came out with a freedom, and you were saying that doesn't last. That freshness for your first cap or your first year. And Jacob talked about it last week, where he had that first glorious year, where maybe teams aren't expecting them to do as much, which I don't buy either. I think teams are always going to be wary of you, whether you're first cap or not. So there has to be a reason why that level of freedom goes from a youngster.
Yeah. Although I don't know if it was his enthusiasm was like a carefree. I'm sure he still felt under pressure to deliver, but he was just he just looked delighted to be out there, and it's like maybe he was just loving it, absolutely loving the occasion. And it was a way lesser occasion than what those two fellas deserved. They deserved the fanfare, the leaving the Shelburne, the bus trip, the full stadium, the buzz. So it's a real shame they never got to do that, but still class for those lads. It's brilliant.
What was your first cap?
I was just about to ask you, yeah.
Australia.
Better been class. Did you score?
I didn't. We got bait.
But did you had all that? It was in Lansdowne Road.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was the old Lansdowne Road, and it was to Keary. I was playing 13.
Oh, class.
Against the Keary. And
how'd you do against it?
Did grand.
Were you one of the only first caps that day?
I think I was the only one, yeah. But so like Latham, Larkin, who else? couple of like the Australian lads knew again how special an occasion it was for me. They came over to me after the game and all, or it was Takiri and Latham specifically, and Takiri gave me his jersey and I went to give him mine. And he said, no, don't worry about it. It's first test. It's a great occasion. Latham came over, said congratulations, first test. You know, like these are, when you're, what was I, just turned 21, like these were legends, heroes of mine, and it's cool. Like it's a cool occasion. Obviously, probably weren't so many legends playing for Italy the weekend.
Yeah.
But still, it's an amazing experience.
Just imagine you going home from your first cap with a bag of Australian jerseys, going, for fuck's sake, now I have 15 Australian jerseys. How the heck am I going to get rid of these yokes?
Did you
just put a Potholes and Penguins badge on them and sell them as merch?
Yeah. Did you have to get demented drunk that night? Did everyone like force you to drink loads of drinks and that?
No, we were playing the next week. We were playing. Yeah, it was just the start of that first game in autumn, or second game in autumn. What was your first test?
Argentina. That first.
Oh yeah,
I think Rob
07.
Rob Carney was talking about it the other night because it was his first cap as well. We got beaten 16-0. I think was it.
Was it the first test?
Yes.
Or the second one?
First one. Oh no, it was a drop goal. No, it was a drop goal.
Yeah, the first one was close then because I know Jordy missed a drop goal to win it.
Yeah, Contepomi got a drop goal in the last minute. And we got bananas that night and it was awful. Yeah, an awful, like, because we went and played the following week.
Yeah, Tomas was back. Tomas was back at the hotel like at 9:30 or something.
Yeah, couldn't carried back. Yeah. So that wasn't good. It wasn't a good ritual. But yeah, fair play to the three boys. I include Caelan Doris as not his first cap, but he played in a similar manner. The three of them were the best players in the pitch, which was great. I'm delighted. Will we get into that in part 2?
Yeah,
break.
Save it.
We get we'll just touch quickly on the Dirty Dozen. That's what I've nicknamed them. The Barbarians 12 that made a bollocks of the Barbarians England match. So everyone wants them to be reprimanded in some way.
Yeah.
What should they do?
They should have to walk what do you call the girl, the sister, the queen? Cersei, yeah, they should have to walk naked through the town.
Shame.
With all of them with their tits out.
Yes. Shame. Shave their heads and throw fruit at them. And then the queen gives them a kick up the hole. Like queen, what's the queen's name now? Elizabeth. Yeah, she gets to kick them up the hole like the Simpsons episode in Australia where they get the booting. And then catapult Fergus McFadden back to Ireland. Because what else can you do to them? People are like, they need to find something to do to them.
Where did it happen? In London?
Yeah.
They went for pints in London?
Yeah. Fucking Jesus. It's
but it is the Barbarians.
I know, sure. Like I see. The thing is, I'm thinking, would I be in the middle of it now if I was?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck. They're bullets you dodge, aren't they?
Yeah.
When you go, keep your mouth shut now. You the shoe could be on the other foot. So when you hear some people slagging them, you know those people that are slagging them are never going to be loose enough to make a mess of something like that.
Can you imagine if one of the Barbarians said, "No, I'm not coming out tonight. We have to stay in the bubble." Can you imagine the abuse? Yeah. Can you imagine the abuse that guy would have got from the rest of them behind his back on the night out?
Oh, it's pretty silly though.
It is silly, and we're getting serious here. It was silly, and a shame.
I thought your silly little bit would definitely go after them, but is it too serious a matter to go after? Probably is.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't see it here. Okay, we'll take a break. All right, Ireland versus Italy. Len Carmody sent in, was that the best display by an Irish 7 yesterday? 31 tackles, 2 steals, 10 carries for 52 metres, 3 line-out wins and a try.
Did he have 31 tackles?
No, not Will Connors. Claire Malloy for the ladies, you misogynistic sexist pig.
Did she?
She did.
What?
Yeah, see all of you pricks out there automatically thought I was talking about the lads, but
That's
I wasn't.
unbelievable.
Yeah, she's unreal. Tut, tut, tut.
What's her name? Claire Connors.
Claire. Claire Malloy.
I read your notes wrong, sorry.
Claire Malloy, she's got that ratty head that I love for a wing forward. She's very similar to, as you were saying, to Connors. He's got that kind of, how were you describing him earlier on?
Oh yeah, what sort of dog? Yeah, we need to have a
Bit of
think about this.
disgruntled look like.
Do you reckon it's a certain personality type it takes to play in that position?
I always think a 7 is a very particular type of person.
Wow.
Yeah, always. And sometimes
Describe that person, because I would imagine the person you're going to describe is not Josh van der Fleer.
No, so he's an outlier. But I know,
Okay.
and a lot of them, they look the same. They remind me of the same kind of, like Michael Hooper, Neil Back, Dan Levy. They all, Richie McCaw. There's something about them. They've got the same.
Pocock's retired.
Yeah, what a career, what a beast.
Mm.
But yeah, Claire Malloy fits that 7. She's that aura about her. It was a good solid win for Ireland and some really nice scores. Big game against France from next week. What a serious sporting gesture from them, have agreed to come over and play the game in Ireland, because regulations in France regards to travelling are a lot less. So even though it's supposed to be on in France, it's on in Donnybrook. So they can beat France. They can get second in the Six Nations behind England. I was also talking to Annika Police, who was supposed to play, but her brother's wedding was the weekend, so she opted out and went to that. She's also out of camp, but she had written a song for Teddy Iribarren, but she got on to me and said that it was about him and the Roscommon ladies football team.
Oh yeah.
But it'd be like flogging a dead horse if we went, if we went after him last week.
Yeah.
So I let him off.
So we're going after him now?
I don't know. I'd say let him off for me.
Give him a week or two.
Yeah. So
First good performance, we're going after him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've sent her off to write another song. So she's going to come back with something with Senny Nuopo, who was a great piano player apparently. So watch this space. But Ireland versus Italy. Well, going into the game in Paris next week, we're 1 point ahead of England. We're 23 points up on points difference. They'll still hockey Italy, obviously, but hopefully by no more than 40 points. It means that we may only need a convincing win against France on Saturday to win the championship. Someday rugby, it's Scotland versus Wales at 2:15, then Italy versus England at 4:45, and then France and Ireland at 8:10. So we will know what we need to get in that game, which is the advantage, right? Is that an advantage?
I think so. Oh, definitely an advantage.
Yeah. So we'll need to know if we have to go out and score a bonus point, or if we just need to put 20 points in them.
Changes everything. Changes all your decision making.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be some day of rugby.
Yeah.
I would imagine England are going to put 40 odd points. So I'd say we're going to need a bonus point.
Like they're going to win by 40 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we're going to need a bonus point as well. But going by the France-Wales game at the weekend, plenty of tries in that. It was pretty free-flowing. It wasn't a great game. It was error-strewn, but it was loose anyway. Plenty of opportunities to score tries.
Yeah, so what approach do you think, what from the weekend stood out to you? Do you think that was good enough to beat France?
No one knows. No, like, you know what I've kind of been reminded of recently. So just doing a little bit of research last week, going back and just watching Six Nations, and I just forgot about everything that happened. And it will be so weird if Ireland win the Six Nations, because all we remember it was inconceivable that we were going to be within a shout of winning it, because the only thing I remember is that we got spanked at Twickenham. But then you look at it, and it actually wasn't that much of a hammering. But it definitely, it definitely felt like it at the time.
I even look back at the two tries. Sexton's try was a horrendous bounce, the mistake he made for the try, the first kick, it was a horrendous bounce, and 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna control that ball. And then Jacob's one where he didn't, I don't know, whatever he didn't do, whether he didn't, the decision he had to make on either putting that ball down or diving to catch it before it got to the ground. Again, 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to do the same thing he did in that exact moment. Such a hard decision to make. But
even aside from those two, it did feel like, this is from memory now, I've only watched highlights there, but it did feel like England were in the ascendancy and they were just physically dominant most of the game.
It did, but I suppose you get so shell shocked. I remember Johnny Sexton saying this: you get so shell shocked in a game like that when those two things happen, and how much energy they take out of that. And
one of the issues actually with that game was Ireland kept playing too much rugby, and they went out the back twice, and then you just got like Tuolangi and the rest of the lads just coming up and smashing guys behind the gain line. But I think because there's such an agenda from Irish rugby media, and I think we drive this a little bit, they want to see they want to see attractive rugby. And I think if that's put in the players' heads a little bit, it can be counterintuitive, or it can be hurtful. It can be damaging to how they're looking to play. Because sometimes Johnny alluded to this last week. He said, "What's heads up rugby?" Everybody kept saying heads up rugby, and he was asked, "What's heads up rugby?" And he said, "Well, it's whatever rugby is suitable against the defense that you're being confronted with. So whatever way they defend, just try and read it and make the right decision. Don't just go out the back because people want to see passing rugby." Well, anyway, that's the England game. But the reason why I'm saying that was it's just this bizarre setup where England win the World Cup, get beaten in the final of the World Cup, and they were incredible the whole way through the World Cup. They were probably the best team in the World Cup up until the final, and then they get beat reasonably well by France. And then France just all of a sudden, then they seem invincible. Then they get beat by Scotland, and your man just punches the tight head, just punches Richie or James Ritchie. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Got sent off, first red card in like 3 or 4 years or something in Six Nations. It's just a weird old championship. And then now all of a sudden, despite all that, Ireland have a chance of winning it. It's weird. And the thing is, we just don't know what we're going to get out of France. And it's the old cliche about France, but it's more true now than ever, I think.
Yeah, no, I think what you're saying about the media putting the pressure on the team to play expansive rugby, the team, they're hardly listening to any of that. And what we're saying is, and I think Andy Dunn touched on this, it's a variety of play. It's not expansive play. And I wouldn't expect them to go out against France next weekend and throw the ball around. But it's a variety of a kicking game. So they didn't kick a box kick in the first half of the weekend, which is incredible. But you'd want them to put that French back three under pressure if they get into the right position to put up a box kick. You'd want Stockdale using his left foot if he plays full back. You want to be pinning France back and just keep turning them. I remember England beat them in Paris a couple of years ago, and they put 40 points in them, and they kicked the ball 40 odd times in the game, and it didn't seem like they'd played a kicking game, but it was because all their kicks were Slade's little grubbers and Forrest crossfields and Farrell's kicking. So it's not even an amount of passing or anything like that. It's that they need to keep, to play a game against France that just keeps them guessing, and needs to be a lot better than it was the weekend. That game was grand. It was very good to see all those young players coming through, and one of the like we said, having 3 young, fresh, new cap players, I mean, that for me just proves, here's one for you. So a lot of people would say the step up from club rugby or provincial rugby to and Hiding Cup to international is a massive step up. That's what you always hear all the time. Now, I didn't play enough international rugby to have any idea of what that's like, but I always kind of gone, how could it be that much of a step up? And I know it was Italy at the weekend, but those 3 players were the best players in the pitch and had no experience in international rugby before. How is that just a bit of a bullshit comment when people say that, or what?
No, I do think it is a big step up, but I don't think it's maybe a massive step up to Italy. To be fair, I think the step up to all of the other guys, all the other teams in the Six Nations, I think is a good bit more than European Cup from my experience anyway. I think Italy just not quite so much. It's only picking from 2 teams really, and the intensity their level goes up obviously, but not compared to the rest of the teams in Six Nations, I don't think.
Okay, then heading into the weekend against France, which is going to be a step up. What do you do if Earlsy's back playing now? What do you do with that back 3? Stockdale played pretty well. He had some really good moments, had a few iffy moments. Conway didn't get a huge amount of ball, and Keenan obviously was brilliant. So who misses out? Because Earlsy surely slots back in, doesn't he?
Yeah, but how many weeks has Earlsy been injured for? My only concern is he hasn't had a run of games, and he's going straight into just what we talked
3
about.
or 4,
he's going straight into that level of intensity.
So you leave him out?
Yeah, unless he's a blinder on Monday.
Is he playing on Monday? No, he's not playing on Monday.
No.
No.
The Munster not have a game?
Yeah, but he's not playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then definitely not.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think I felt he was missing massively. I felt they got into it in the second half, the back 3, or towards the end when Keenan scored that try that was disallowed. That was the first kind of time you saw the 3 of them gelling a little bit. But I thought there was something missing between the 3 of them. They looked a bit rudderless. So I was thinking,
I know you'd be keen probably to bring him in at 13.
I would. Oh,
I thought of that.
Oh, I love him at 13. But I don't think they'd do it against France, not against Fakatawa. He was unbelievable the other night against Wales. So you would need Henshaw on his game, because unfortunately Garry Ringrose will be out for 4 or 5 weeks. But he did some job when he stepped into 9, didn't he?
Sure did.
Jeez, he can do it all, that fella, can't he?
What can't he do?
It all. Or can he?
Can Garry Ringrose do it all?
Or would he?
Yes.
Or won't he? Apologies for this. It's weird. Would Garry do anything for us? He ran at 9 when Murray was off. Would Garry do anything for us? He broke his jaw but still came back. And we'll never forget the way we feel right now. Oh no, no way could Garry do anything for us. I won't do that. No, I won't do that. Some days he play with Bundy, some days he will play with Rob, some days he won't play at all, and these are the days that never end. Some nights he'll cure the COVID, and some nights he'll fly to Mars. Some nights he will run for Taoiseach, and Paddles and Penguins will run the door. You must think I'm crazy just 'cause my name is Garry Ringrose. But I am not crazy, I'm not getting a ring in my nose. As long as the Pharaoh picks me, I'll grow my pubes for ripping, as long as Keenan's scoring too. You better believe it, and I would do anything for us. Would Gary do anything for us? Would Gary do anything for us? No, I won't do that. I'm ringing my nose. No, I won't do that. There you go. I'm sure that was weird. Okay, so Stockdale, Jacob. What were your thoughts? And don't feel like I'm trying to. I'm never questioning Jacob, and I feel like you tense up sometimes when I ask you a question about him. Yeah. Like, I'm a massive fan of his, but I want to ask you, and I've asked you this before, and you didn't really say anything, but I feel that he needs someone to put their arm around him and just be a bit more of guidance to him. I'm not sure if Mike Catt or anyone is doing that at the moment and showing him, because I can see where he needs to just tighten up certain things. And
so when you say put their arm around him, just like
give him a bit of direction. I just don't think. Do you know when you're a young lad and you're in the middle of your career and you're trying? And we spoke to him last year, and we could see that he'd gotten himself to a place where he was confident, and he's obviously has struggled with confidence, and he's struggled with people questioning. And he's a great fella, and he's one of our best players. And you kind of want to give him a little bit more direction when he just pins his ears and goes, doesn't second guess himself and doesn't question himself and gets stuck in, and just makes it stick.
I don't think he does lack confidence. I don't know. I think he Andy Dunn gave the perfect example of how confident he is. One chip kick gets charged down by Kieran Reid. The next one he scores off, and he does the same thing again. I don't know. No,
maybe it's not. Maybe it's not confidence, but it's Is it? Maybe it is. It's a decision making thing. I just look at him sometimes and I go, he's. I don't think he's sure of what he's going to do.
Okay, you think he's slightly indecisive, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think the example from the weekend might have been the try that was disallowed. It looked like he kind of looked up and was picking an option, but I think he looked up and hesitated. And by the time he went to make a decision, the defense were up on him, and he actually he had already taken away his kicking option. So then he had to run. So he was almost like forced into making the correct decision on that occasion. I thought he looked a little bit hesitant. Generally, I think his decision making in the backfield is getting better and better. Now there's going to be even less time in against France. To be fair, I definitely don't think his confidence is an issue with him. I think he'll always back himself.
Okay, well look, we'll see. It was what I also enjoyed was Gibson Park's introduction.
He brought something, didn't he?
Didn't he?
Yeah,
and it's kind of exactly what we said last week. Really, having a completely different nine to come off the bench and inject some pace, and they did look like they were getting a bit tired. And
do you know when you were a kid and you went to like the snooker club in town, and there's like a wee room where it's over 18s, but if you know someone, you get in, and it's like gambling machines.
Yeah,
and you go in there and there's like one kid they call it pumping the gambling machine. I wonder if Cooney's looking on, he's thinking, I've been if he displaces Murray, Cooney has been pumping that gambling machine for like a season and a half, and then Jameson Gibson Park just turns up and just puts one coin in and just
20 cents everywhere.
Like Cooney's just looking on, going, I can't believe what just happened there.
Yeah, I'm such a fan of Gibson Park that I think it's as Andy Farrell defended his decision the other day and said, oh, Cooney's an unbelievable player, Marmion's an unbelievable player. It's you got to make a decision on these things, and I'm just such a fan of Gibson Park. I think he's got an eye for a try, and that little chip.
I've got a knife at a tray.
If you look closely at his eyes, there's little rugby balls.
The TROI in his eyes. It's just that little chip that came. You never see that. I'm a massive fan of any. I know Sexton probably called it, but he pulled it off. And then, his injection of pace and his passing, just my type of player. I'm pretty excited to see. And the other, also the decision to play these young fellas and to make those decisions to leave the likes of O'Mahony and whoever else they left out of the team. Who else did they potentially?
O'Mahony was coming on going, this is going to require a hell of an offload.
Yeah.
For me to get back into this team.
Exactly. That's where we've probably been short over the last few years, is that we've been afraid to drop or select younger players who are playing on form. Because you're afraid that the guys that are there, we rely so heavily on them to execute our game plan that if you pull them out, then the whole thing will fall apart. Whereas if you select people on merit like they have been, then the guys who are on the bench or are not getting picked, they have to up their game massively. Like O'Mahony, come on, we've never seen him throw an offload like that, but he needed to go on and do something, and it was outrageous. Probably the best offload by an Irish forward of all time. And it was. When have you ever seen an Irish forward offload like that?
I know you're putting me under pressure, and I can't cite the occasion.
It was unbelievable. So if that's what happens when you give opportunities to people and it just ups the competition in the squad, then fucking sign me up, man.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good to see.
I don't know if I've anything more on it. That's it, I'd say. What about we talk quickly on the Pro 14, will we? You were there.
It was grand, yeah.
Yeah.
Ulster, a few youngsters.
Connacht are winning.
Connacht were winning, yeah.
Leinster.
They were
hammered.
Leinster. Yeah. Did you see the try for Zebra, though, at the end? That was incredible.
Very sexy.
It was worth the wait. Zebra were absolutely useless for 75 minutes and then just produced the flipping try of the season.
Yeah. It was a hooker to play for Leinster. Is it? Sheedy? Be named after yourself. He said fuck, I think, on the...
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Class. Fucking class, boys. He was very good. Big lad. All right, we'll take a break there and we'll come back in part 3 for some Penguin correspondence. All right, welcome back to part 3. Remember the guy we had on last week, the GA guy that played David, wasn't it?
David Shanahan.
Yeah. Do you remember he said that, or you referenced Tom Court getting his Lions cap?
Yes.
And in Australia when he was on holidays.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to say it at the time because I have a funny story about that. But
Are you going to tell the story?
I'll tell it, yeah.
Have you ever told this on
I don't think so.
the podcast?
I doubt it.
Oh, no.
So he got that. He got called into the Lions when he was on holidays, or he was back home in Australia.
This has a feel of the last ever story we ever tell.
I think I might have protected myself enough.
I think so. It's a ridiculous story. It's a butterfly effect.
So we were on tour in Australia, that Lions tour in 2013. We were over there with the band, and we went to the Lions' first test in Brisbane and went to the game, and we had a pretty heavy day and night. So much so that I fell asleep at the match in the stand. And after the game, we went to a pub around the corner, and I was dressed up in one of those lion outfits, like a full lion onesie, big yellow
a character, like a character.
a gas man.
It was more like a chicken, though. Really, though, it was a really. It was just like something a child would wear to bed, as opposed to a big lion costume. It was just like soft, and it didn't have much of a head part of a lion. It's more like a
too
chicken.
small for me. And I got wet as well, so it was quite
Chickeny.
a wet, fluffy chick. And this is what happened, funnily enough. So we're in the pub, and I was just minding my own business. And this fella started slagging me, an Australian guy started slagging me, calling me a chicken. Hey, you fucking chicken. I was like, I'm not a chicken, I'm a lion. and he was just being quite Australian. And was not. It was poor banter, I would say. And there was a few Welsh lads that were there, and I told a few of them that. They were like, "What's going on?" I was there. This guy's keeps calling me a chicken, and he's giving me shit. And they got involved, and then it all got a bit mental, and a scrap started, and the Aussie guy ended up on the ground, and he was in a bad old way, wasn't he? So he got a few slaps, and then the place went mental. Cops came, nightclub or pub. It was a pub. Normandy closed.
Like a late bar, yeah.
We were all dragged out. Everyone was kicked out. We were just on the street. Ambulance called, guards called, and we just were we just kind of like we didn't do anything. We didn't get involved, but we just left. And about a week later, I told a couple of people the story, and
We were still on tour at that point. We were still following the lines around.
so we just rambled on. But
You're still following the chickens around.
it turns out that Cian Healy broke his leg that night, and the Lions called up this prop that played for Wales. I can't remember his name. Played for Exeter and played for Wales, and who had played with them in Japan. I think he'd been on the pre-tour in Japan, and he was over there. And turns out that he was the guy that I had told that they were calling me a chicken, and he went over and got involved in the fight and got arrested. I think he might have gotten a 6-month suspended sentence for beating the shit out of this fella, and didn't get called up for the Lions because of that, and they called up Tom Court instead. So Tom Court got capped for the Lions, potentially, because I was dressed up as a chicken.
Wow.
Butterfly effect is mental.
Butterfly.
And I've never told him that. I met him out there after. I didn't know until a few weeks later, but I met Tom a few days later. And the funny thing is, the Lions gave us a lift to the airport the next day. We met Rala outside the hotel, and he was like, "How are you getting to the airport?" We were like, "I don't fucking know, man. I've lost my passport probably." And he goes, "Jump on the bus there." So we got the Lions bagmen to load in all our instruments and our gear onto the undercarriage of the bus, and we got a lift. Did they make us sing? They hardly did they?
Jeez, I can't remember. I remember being on the bus, but just going, "Where am I?"
Yeah, so hopefully the guy from Wales won't ever hear this, even though I didn't really have anything to do with it. I'm not taking any fucking blame for that. And but thanks for defending me. And the Tom Court, you are welcome. But anyway, we'll move on to some Penguin correspondence.
Someone brought up the point, his name is Andy, and he brought up the point that you were doing a lot of dilly-dallying. You were saying a lot of dilly-dallying on the Ulster Match correspondence today.
I did. I referenced the term dilly-dallying because Hibbard picked up the ball and he was kind of fannying around at the back of a ruck. He was dilly-dallying, and he got scragged and turned over. And I made the point. This is the non-rugby description of that would be to dilly-dally. And bear in mind, I'm beside Robbo and Bernard Jackman, both of who know the rugby. So I was taking the piss out of kind of my expression, but then stupidly later on in the game, I actually used it legitimately. I said, he's dilly-dallying. I went, no. It's the first time I was highlighting how ridiculous it would be to say it, and then I said it.
And he said it. It is a Trimby phrase if I've ever heard one.
You've got to say
willy nilly.
You've got to say willy nilly on your next correspondence.
On your
Willy-nilly.
next commentary.
Correspondence. Wait, I'm doing the correspondence.
Dearest Robbo.
I'll try and squeeze it in.
Yeah, do. Okay. Ben asks or says, myself and my fiance are expecting next year. Can you recommend any names? I hope his fiance knows.
Well, look.
Whereas he's asking us.
I automatically think that people have to always have twins now when I think of children. But only I was the curse. So I was going to say Barry and Andrew, unless you want to go double barrel. Give the child a...
I'd say Andy Barry.
Andy Barry.
Sounds,
Barry Andrews definitely a name.
is it?
I think so, yeah. It's like a Barry Phillip or Barry... Yeah.
We should rename Dermy Barry Andrew. Barry Andrew and Barry Andrew.
I don't know, man. I'd be honoured if you'd name them after potholes and penguins. Give it a P name.
If you name your child Barry Andrew, we'll give you free Patreon access
And a mug.
Okay, well, there you go, Ben. You can't pass that one up. Edward asks, does Hugo Keenan have the cutest smile in Irish rugby?
Well, there you go, like a dog. A dog smiling. He is an adorable little fella. He's tall, sorry. He's an adorable young fella.
So that's a yes. That's a yes.
Yeah.
Matt McKnight sent an awful funny video, lads.
He did.
Can you describe it, Barry?
It's the World Cup in 2011. How the fuck did he find this? And it's under the posts. It's Ireland versus Russia in a group stage match. Under the posts, Russia are defending, and there's a ruck, and Rog pours out the side of the ruck, and he's got a Russian on top of him, straddling him, trying to do what was that guy in?
It sounds more serious. He's got a Russian on top of him. Sounds more serious than the situation that happened.
It does. It always sounds a bit more dangerous, doesn't it? And Trimby, you remind me of Bubba in Forrest Gump, who is just will do anything to defend. Or no, sorry, Forrest is the one that defends Bubba.
Yeah,
you're Forrest Gump, sure. That's what you were in the video. You're so desperate to defend Raj. No one touches Bubba, and you try and pull this guy's head off. First of all. You just grab him by the head and try and pull him off, but his scrum cap comes clean off and you kind of fall over, and then you grab him by the foot and you try and pull him off, and he's just pulling it, but he's holding on to Raj, so you're pulling the two of them along the ground.
It was like Raj had a bit of like wet toilet roll stuck to his foot. He just couldn't get rid of it. I think that guy actually called Raj a chicken. And then I beat him up. I think that's why I never got picked for the Lions.
Yeah, you don't remember that moment?
No, when I watched it back, I would never have remembered that. What a shocking game of rugby that was. I scored a try in that game, and whenever I got up thinking that my teammates would be keen to celebrate the moment, Donica came over, he arrived first, and he said, Trimby, that's the worst try that's ever been scored in international rugby.
Brilliant.
That's so good. What was so bad about it?
It was like a pass from 9 to 10. I think I was first receiver, and whoever was at 9 was passing me the ball. But one of these lazy Russians was like running back into their defensive line, got in the way, it bounced off his hand, then bounced onto their side. I just ran through and hoofed it and then scored.
It was like Louis Ludig's try today, and you made a really good point that showing his silky skills to header on the ball when it just bounced off his face. I don't think anyone picked up on that when you said it.
Didn't. No one picked up on that. I was so gutted. That's such a funny observation.
I picked
such a
up
funny
on
thing
it.
to say.
What did you say?
We should be commentating together. I said, such skills from Louis Ludig. He's just volleyed it off his nose perfectly and controlled it off his nose.
Just as you said it, they did the slow motion replay, and he clearly it just bounced up and took him by such surprise when it smacked him in the face.
And then his eyes are so watery, he can't even find the ball to score it.
Oh, I got it. No, your banter on the commentary is getting better. I love it. Keep pushing that boat.
Thanks, Barry. I'm going to push it until they say something silly and we get cancelled.
Okay, Dermy, have you any more?
That's all I got.
Okay. It's loads. That's great, lads. Have we anything else to push? Anything else to push upon you? Get on if you want some merchandise for Christmas, lads, or Halloween. Or just to get them.
Or Tuesday.
We've got our jumpers and we've got our mugs. They're class. We'll be adding more to it. Please, again, if you can do anything with the Patreon, get involved and keep us entertained in those Facebook and Instagram and Twitter accounts. They were gas all week. Is that it? Anything you want to say to sign off, boys? No. Wait,
No.
we can wave now. Sound, lads.
We can say party on.
Party on.
Party on. See you next week.